The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
If you want to know where the storm rolls next, you got to read the clouds over old Midwest. Every yard, every basket, every mat that's worn, you learn to see the future by tracking the storm. We're tracking the storm, watching it form, from Jack Trice's courage to the heroes yet born. Hilton lights shining like lightning in the night. Jack Trice way, glowing in the stadium lights. From the sweat in the barn to the roar in the stands, every cyclone story's written in the land. Yeah, the path gets clearer with each legend swarm. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Dwayne Crutchfield, pounding turf like rain. Big 8 Saturdays, driving through the pain. 2 years, rushing past 1,000 on the ground. Made the whole conference feel that thunder sound. Then Troy Davis hit the hole like a flash. Back to back 2,000, turn records into ash. Heisman nights, but win or lose that day, the cyclone in his chest never blew away. Seneca rolled out, crowd holding its breath. The run cut like lightning through Tex Red West. 112-yard touchdown, 100 yards more. Sometimes a single scramble rewrites the law. So if you want to know where the wind leans next, you listen to the echoes in those long yard stretches. Every cut, every dive, every night, half torn, you learn to cycle.
I love that intro.
I know.
That's
I
Chris
know.
Shipley singing the whole thing too. You know that, right? That's
I did not know that. That's pretty dang good. That's pretty good.
As far
I'm
as you
impressed.
know it is, anyway.
Exactly. Kind of like your homework.
Yeah, right. It's right at the library. Man, what's it been like? It's been like 3 weeks, I think. I
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like it. We got a great one tonight too. Tom Randall.
boy.
He's going to be awesome, man.
Why don't you lead the way on that one? This guy he's a legend, man. I mean,
he's
holy
an
cow.
icon. He's an
Yeah.
icon, Keith. He's an icon. He played in the Bruce era, and of course went on and played in the NFL. And he's been an icon in the. I keep saying the word icon because I can't think of any other way to describe it.
It
What he's
works.
done in the Iowa State and Ames community, and also just as a player and just as a spokesperson for Cyclone athletics, but Cyclone football. The man is just, and he's going to be a great guest. I know you have some stories about listening to him talk, and I remember as a young kid watching him play, and I really wasn't that young because I don't want to make him sound old because he still looks great. I don't know if he can get in a 3-point stance like he used to, but he looks like he can get in a 3-point stance. So yeah, we're really excited to have him.
Yeah, man. Tom Randall, let's bring him on. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a good time. So you got him ready to roll there, Chris? And there he is.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
How good is this? Tommy Randall, how are you, buddy? Down in Fort Myers, Florida, enjoying before all the good weather comes to Iowa, you kept the good weather down in Florida, I take it, huh?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for having me on, you guys. You guys do a great job for Iowa State. I've been around Iowa State so doggone long. You guys say, hey, I remember watching you play. And that's one of the reasons and I just saw something on George Amundsen and Johnny Major's group. And that's why I went to Iowa State. It was Big Daddy Hunt, it was Amundsen, Dean Carlson, Matt Blair, all those guys that were playing under majors. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. I want to go here. And so it's kind of neat to hear that somebody else followed us up after the 70s.
Absolutely.
You're in Mason City, Iowa, right? That's where you're born, right?
Yep, Mason City.
I remember watching you play. The Dexter Green, yourself, just so many great players, and I wanted to be a part of that. I really did. It was my first college football game ever. Luckily, I went to watch the Nebraska game, and you guys beat them the 35-28. Just a hell of a game, and it made me want to be a Cyclone. And then, but what we're thankful to have you as a guest, but you've done so much beyond your playing. So we're going to try to probably bounce all around your career, maybe growing up and things like that. But there's so much to talk about, Tom, and we're excited to have you.
No, I appreciate that.
My very first game at Iowa State, I was 12 years old. The veterinarian for my local area, he took me down there. We went and watched Iowa State play Utah. And if I remember right, I think Tom Bosky had like 970 tackles, and I mean, it was every play. It seemed like Bosky here, Bosky there, fumble recovery, interceptions. But there was a defensive line in front of him that was pretty damn good.
It's kind of funny. You talk about that Nebraska game, and we used to brag about that a lot. We beat them my junior, we beat them my senior year in Lincoln. And that's when they were good.
Yeah.
And now you tell people you beat Nebraska, and they go, "So what? Everybody beats Nebraska."
Yeah, right.
It's not a big deal, but back then it was. And I just wanted to say one thing. One of the reasons I'm even here is, and he's not with us anymore, is Mike Stensrud. He and I were the two defensive tackles. He was from Lake Mills. His brother Maynard was the nose guard from Lake Mills, and I was from Mason City. And we were both Mike. They called him Mongo. Mike and I were both first team All Big 8. You think two guys from North Iowa. That's
right.
Pretty special. I didn't get in as much until later on, but pretty neat.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you didn't get to see a lot of games on TV. I mean, I think it was like you could be on once a year or something like that back in those days, and for whatever reason, I kind of remember watching our game against Colorado in Colorado, and it would have been like 76 or 77, and watching that game, and that was after the Utah game, and I was an Iowa State guy for sure, even as a 12-year-old. Everybody else was to that team out east, but I was pretty.
That game in Colorado, funny story. They had a running back. I think his name was Tony Reed. He was really, really good, and I was the right defensive tackle. And they ran a sweep, and he and I just collided like 100 miles an hour. And I was seeing stars. Took me a while to get up, and I went, "Oh boy, I really stuck him." And I started running towards the sideline, and my teammates had to grab me because I was going to the wrong sideline. I was clueless.
Hey, the technology of those helmets back there were so good, weren't they?
Oh my God.
There was no concussion protocol at that time, was there?
None. Smelling salts.
Oh.
Break the smelling salts under the nose and get back in there.
How many fingers do you think I'm holding up?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So coming out of Mason City, what made you go to Iowa State?
Oh boy, along with the football tradition, there were I had two brothers, older brothers that both had gone to Iowa State, and my younger brother ended up graduating from Iowa State also. But it's kind of weird, when I was in high school, I was a basketball player. I only played 1 year of varsity football. That was my senior year, and I didn't even want to play. The guys, all my teammates were my buddies. And I still remember that, and they're all going, "You got to come out for the team." I said, "No, I'm going to play basketball." "Come on, man, we need you. We need you." I said, "Oh, God." I didn't like football. I mean, truly, I loved basketball. I mean, when we practiced my senior year, I couldn't wait for practice to get over so I could go home and start shooting hoops in the driveway. I mean, my dream was to be, the next Dave DeBuscher of the New York Knicks. I mean, that was it.
Yeah, right.
Had nothing to do with football, and played that 1 year, and I started getting recruited halfway through my senior year, and I was playing basketball. I'm going, what are these coaches doing? And I had to make a decision to switch to football, and I thought, well, I'll go give it a try and we'll see how that goes, and went okay.
Yeah, it went
So,
okay.
who all recruited you, Tom?
Oh, it was Earl Bruce, and his assistant was Randy Hart, who was the one that recruited me, and he recruited Mike Stensrud.
What other schools?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
University of Miami, Hawkeyes, K-State, Colorado, Pittsburgh when Majors was there. So,
Wow.
but I went to Iowa and looked at it. Yeah. And then I still have those feelings.
Yeah.
You know, they said, you know, the Hawkeyes, boy, we've had sellouts for 35 years. Well, you know what? The game I went to as a recruit, there were probably 10,000 fans. And out of the 10,000, 9,000 of them were booing.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the stands. I mean, I think that year they were 0-11 or 1-10. So it was a pretty easy decision to go to Iowa State.
You never got to play against them, did you?
Senior year, I
Your
did.
senior year.
Yeah, that was the first game.
Tom Buck.
Yep.
Tom Buck had the punt returned. Yeah.
Tommy Buck, 12-10. Our defense did it. I mean, we did a good job. Our offense just kind of struggled. You know, had we played them any other time of the year, I think they only won 1 or 2 more games, and we went on to go 8-3. So,
Did you go to a bowl game that year at 8?
Peach Bowl.
Peach Bowl. Yeah.
But you know what's interesting? The year before, my junior year, that, in my opinion, was the best team we ever had. I mean, that team was loaded with talent. They were number 2 in the nation in offense. We were number 2 in the Big 8 in defense. I mean, they had Dexter Green, Luther Blue, Albert Dixon, Mike Stensrud, me. You know, there's about 6, Buddy Hardiman.
Right.
You know, about 6 or 7 of us played in the NFL for a little while. So, I mean, that team was really, really good. I mean, it was.
I ran into Buddy Hardiman in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, that's where he's from.
Yeah, I ran it. I think I was at the Dinosaur or something, this barbecue joint in Syracuse, and I ran into him. It was very brief, but that's been 20 some years ago, but that was kind of unique to walk. You know, you didn't see a lot of Iowa State guys around at that time,
Right.
especially in New York State, you know. So,
Tom, I have a question for you, transitioning from 1 year of high school football, getting recruited. I'm glad you didn't go to Iowa. That was a Bob Cummins year, I think, years. They had consecutive losing seasons. So, okay, you're a 1 year experienced kid. You roll into Ames, and it's the Big 8 conference. And the Big 8 used to be by far the most physical conference in college football for many, many years. What was that like in training camp? And as a you weren't as filled out as you were as a senior, probably lanky and lean. Can you share with us some of your experiences just coming out of high school, 1 year of high school football?
Yeah, it was obviously a big deal. You know, when you're in high school, you're kind of a big shot. And then, as you guys know, when you go to Iowa State, you know, everybody's kind of on an even keel. And when you're younger, but some of the guys back then that were so tough, the majors guys were tough. And they were still the carryovers. It was Earl Bruce's year, but those were carryover recruits from majors. And we were all scared of the majors recruits. I mean, these guys were unbelievable. Brad Storm, Rick Howe. I mean, these guys were tough. And I always said that, and Rick has passed away since, but I said, boy, those guys taught a lot of us how to be, you know, and the coaches said, we're never going to out-talent anybody, but we can out-tough them.
yeah.
You know, and we said, it'll be like a street fight if you play Iowa State. We may not win, but you're going to feel the pain.
That
was kind of our attitude anyway.
I think that's it's always been that way. I mean, I can think of the years in 84, 85, 86. I think that we went like in the next game that the people played against us, they lost. It was a long run, including Oklahoma, including Nebraska, lost their next week after they played us. Now that's, you know, doesn't say anything that we did anything great, but they played in a physical game in the week before. And I think that's something that that a lot of coaches have recognized that had come in. When Walden was there, we had some rough years there, but they still played hard. They still played aggressive. It was a great time. So you got in. You had your 4 years at Iowa State. Did you redshirt once, or did you just play 4?
Played 4 years. I started 3 years defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle, then you got drafted by the Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys as an offensive lineman.
How'd that happen?
That's really funny. Nothing is the same today. Today's so big, and technology and the draft and all of what. I lived in a house on Welch Avenue. You guys know where that was, 431 Welch Avenue. And they said to sit by your phone. The first day I was supposed to get drafted, the first day they said 3rd or 4th round. Well, that didn't happen. So I waited all day. And the next day, sit by your phone again, because there's just landlines. So I pick up the phone, and 2 things that were odd. Number one, it was Gil Brandt. And he says, Tom Randall, this is Gil Brandt from the Dallas Cowboys. You're our 7th round draft choice. And I went, I hate the Cowboys. I was a big Packer fan. I'm going, oh no. That, and then the fact that they said you're going to play offense. I hadn't played a down offense in college. So when I got to training camp in Thousand Oaks, California, I had to learn quick. I mean, the Cowboys were reigning world champions. They had won the Super Bowl the year before.
Wow.
And I was the 7th round. They drafted a guy in the 3rd round, in the 5th round ahead of me. And those guys were both linemen, and they thought they were going to be the ones. But I said, you know what? I'm probably not going to make the team. We got the same kind of attitude I had at Iowa State. I said, I'm going to hit some people, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit. And I did, and I beat out both those guys and made the team. There were 5 of us that made the team. So, but, I had to learn how to play offense real quick. I didn't know how to play.
Right.
How do you pull? I knew how to pass block because I knew what I didn't like guys doing to me.
Sure.
Holding.
Yeah, right. Hold the hell up. It's not holding if you don't get caught.
No, that's exactly right. And I said, God, if I could have played in today's world back then, and you guys know this, you had to keep your arms within the shoulder pads when you're pass blocking. I mean, they had to be inside the shoulder pads for you to be, today, I can't even do it, but I mean, your arms can be spread out eagle pass blocking. And I said, man, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
If I remember, I don't think you could have an open hand back then either. I think you had to have your fist. Didn't you have to have your hands together? I mean, your fist. I don't remember being open-handed. Maybe it was. I don't.
I think we were. The thing I learned quick was to grab under the shoulder pads.
Sure.
And hang on for dear life. Just keep your feet moving and hold on.
I'm sure Randy White liked that a lot when you were.
Oh my God, that's a funny one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a real funny one. Randy White, Hall of Famer, best defensive guy, in my opinion, ever. And he was first team, obviously. And I was second team left guard, and he was right tackle. So in practice, every day, I had to go against Randy, and they called him the Manster.
Yeah. Half
man, half monster. Strongest guy on the team and one of the fastest guys on the team. And here I am, Joe Rookie. And I'm trying to block him. And one day in practice, we were in Dallas, and I'm trying to block him, and he's going by me, and I'm holding on for dear life. He turns around and hits me in the back of the head. Well, I turn around, grab him by the face mask, and start pounding on him, on Randy. And Randy started pounding on me, and everybody was going nuts. They go, nobody messes with the Manster. And I said, a couple, I said, no, you hit me in the back of the head. I'm not going to take that. Are you kidding? And so we went in the locker room afterwards, and he came up to me and he said, hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit you, and I said, no, I appreciate that. And I didn't mean to mix it up, but nobody hits me in the back of the head. But he apologized.
Hey.
He had a little mutual respect. He was the strongest guy. I was the second strongest guy on the team as a rookie. So, I mean, we mixed it up pretty good. Obviously better.
I love
Tom-
that. He probably, you probably brought some of that, what you learned from your Bruce era in transitioning from Johnny Majors guys, the toughness that we talked about before. I have to ask you. So you played O-line, and I actually I was a massive, massive Cowboy fan. So you were in the huddle with Captain America, correct? Was Roger Staubach? Yeah, I've got to. I mean, the guy is amazing. That had to be a great experience.
I only have two heroes from football, Roger Staubach, Earl Campbell. Because the second year I played in Houston, I'll tell you about that later. But one time, and I never got in the game with Roger. I was second team. But one day, and it was out at Thousand Oaks, and I got in the huddle. I don't know how I got in with the first team. And all of a sudden, kneeling down, and I'm looking over, and it's Roger friggin' Staubach. I mean, I was in total awe. And they go, ready, break. And I go, oh, man, I didn't know the count. I was just so infatuated with him. I mean, It was just that whole team. I mean, Dorsett, Randy White, Too Tall Jones, Hollywood Henderson, Cliff Harris, Drew Pearson. Landry was the coach. Ditka was the special teams coach. He was our special teams coach.
How was Landry?
Billy Joe Dupree, was he the tight end at that time?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Good memory. Good memory.
I'm a Cowboy fanatic.
Yeah.
How was Landry?
Landry was so cool. People asked me, and I said they had a rookie camp, a mini camp after I got drafted, and it was in May. They brought in all the draft choices, and the free agents come down to Dallas for 3 days, and they look at you and check you out. And it's the last day, and Landry's talking, and he's going, okay, everybody, we'll see you out in Thousand Oaks in 4 weeks. And I go, okay, well, I'm sitting there going, God, I'm still up in Ames. And I said, I didn't even talk to the guy. I'm one of the – so I went up and introduced myself to him after the meeting. I said, Coach Landry, I'm Tom Randall. I'm your 7th-round draft choice out of Iowa State. He goes, yeah, Tom, I know who you are.
Ain't it great?
That was it.
Yeah.
And I just went, okay.
So can I ask you, so back in those days, because it's different now, like you said, and you said Gil Brandt called you. So Gil Brandt was a curious fellow too. I mean, he didn't have a football background. He had a different background, but he always known for finding talent. So did they come to Ames and watch you in practice? How was it back then? How it was different, wasn't it, than it is now?
Yeah, no, there wasn't a combine. There wasn't they just had film, and maybe they talked to the coaches, about what you were like and all that. But no, I never talked to anybody on the Cowboys. And kind of the odd thing was my second year, I was back at Iowa State. Well, you guys would appreciate this. Donnie Duncan was the coach. Earl had left to go to Ohio State, and I thought, oh man. But I went into Donnie's office and I said, hey, do you mind if I use the weight room? Because I've got a quarter. We were on the quarter system back then. I said, I got 1 quarter left. He says, God, I would love it if you were in our weight room. And he said, matter of fact, why don't you come out? We can pick up your tuition if you'll become a student, what they call it, grad assistant. So they'll pick up my tuition. I said, hey, that's a pretty good deal. So I went in, got my coach's shorts, I got my whistle, and I went out the first day of practice, and I'm sitting there looking around. I'm going, what the hell am I doing? I did. I walked into the Olsen building afterwards, and I went into Coach Duncan. I said, I really appreciate it. It's so nice of you. But I said, you know what? I'll pay my own way. I'm not a coach. I'm a player. I'm not a coach. I can't do this. So, but Duncan was so nice to me.
Yeah.
We love Donnie.
Yeah.
We love Donnie. Kind of maybe a little cat out of the bag. We're going to have one of these podcasts this summer, and we're going to try to get as many of the assistant coaches that coached with him on his staff to come back and just kind of do a bit of an ode to Donnie. And the guy, he did so much for college football. I mean, with the Big 12 and everything else that he's done with running bowl games and just just a great person, you know.
Super nice guy.
I was a freshman after he left, and Kent was a sophomore, so we didn't get to enjoy a long time with him. And then, you know, we went into a little bit of the dark ages. We probably won't talk much about that.
No.
You know, so you go from the Cowboys. You're there. Did you go to the Super Bowl that year too?
Yeah. Yep. We went to Super Bowl, and it was Steelers.
Yeah.
And it was Super Bowl 13, and Steelers won 35-31. And Kent, you being a Cowboy fan, is when Jackie Smith dropped the ball in the end zone, and Drew Pearson or Lynn Swan interfered with our guy, Aaron Kyle, and caught a pass, and they called interference. You know, it changed the whole game. But I mean, it was a great game. Yeah. 35-31. I mean, it was Bradshaw and Franco Harris. And I mean, this was the best of the Steelers at that time, too, and best of the Cowboys at that time. So
I'd love to go through that and see how many Hall of Famers were in that Super Bowl.
Oh,
there got to be close to 20 guys.
I think there were. At one time, I tried to figure it out because Coach Noel was their coach. He's in the Hall of Fame. Landry, Ditka was one of our coaches. Dan Reeves was one of our coaches. Strictly talking about coaches.
Yeah.
You know, then you go all the players. You go on Jack Lambert, Mean Joe Green.
Yeah.
Jack Ham. I mean, you're going, it just goes on and on and on. Webster.
Crazy.
If I'm not mistaken, I think in the opening kickoff, Cowboys ran a reverse and gave it to Thomas Henderson.
Yeah.
And he absolutely trucked the kicker on a reverse, because Thomas Henderson could run a 10 something 100 meters or a 900 yards. He could that guy was a freak too. I mean, he was a different cat, and I've seen a documentary on him, and it looks like he's really just found peace in his life and done some great things. But I mean, that was probably one of the best Super Bowls. You know, we don't have the modern era. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
20 Hall of Famers.
Oh, wow. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
That is crazy.
I had a pretty good seat for that game, you know. I did get in the game, and I did make a tackle.
I was going to ask you,
But I mean, I didn't get into the regular part. I played all the playoff or the special teams, you know, kickoff return, extra point, punt return, you know, did all those things. So I did make a tackle.
That's
Kurt
awesome.
Gowdy called out my name on TV, so I thought I was pretty special.
Boy, speaking of Hall of Famer.
Right on.
He was amazing. He was absolutely amazing.
Yep.
So you get done with the Cowboys.
Yep. Oh, I'll tell you. You want to hear?
Yeah, well, let's go. It's your show. We're just kind of.
It's kind of fun to reminisce because I don't get to very often. Second year, I go to camp, and I'm kind of getting the hang of it, offensive line. And I had a good camp. I mean, I knew I had a good camp, and I knew I made the team. And Coach Landry, but then I got a call that Coach Landry wants to see you. I'm going, oh crap! I thought I did enough, and called me in. I said, oh, hey Tom, here's the deal. You beat out Burton Lawless. Burton Lawless was the starting right guard with Tom Rafferty.
Yeah.
They shuttled in the plays, the two of them. Right. He said, you beat out Burton. We're in the process of trading Burton. It should be done tomorrow. So just hang low, come back tomorrow, and you're good. You made the team, and you beat out Burton. And I went, oh, that's so cool. Wow. So what's a guy that's 22 years old? He goes out with his buddies and celebrates. And I go back to the hotel and go to bed about 2 a.m. And next thing I know, my phone's ringing at the hotel. And I pick it up and he goes, hey, hello. And he goes, this is some guy named Pepper with the Houston Oilers. He said, we just picked you up on waivers. I went, oh my God, there's a plane at Love Field waiting for you at 3:00. I just went crazy. I mean, I'm just going, no. They had to put me on waivers because they had to be down to a certain number, and they were going to bring me back the next day after because they could get something for Burton.
Sure.
Burton was a starter. I mean, they could have gotten a draft choice or two out of Burton. they couldn't get anything out of me. So they were playing the game, and unfortunately, that's the one thing I always say. I beat that guy out, but I didn't get to play on the team.
Oh,
But
Man.
ended up in Houston, which was another interesting.
and one Stensrud there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was a neat reuniting. Did he
Yeah.
have anything to do with them picking up? Did he have anything to do with that? Them picking you up off of waivers?
I don't think so. Joe Bugle, you might remember that
yeah.
name. He was the coach for the Oilers under Bum Phillips. Joe had coached at Iowa State prior to me being there,
Okay.
or maybe my freshman year. I can't remember. But he was up in the weight room when I was lifting weights when Donnie Duncan
Mm-hmm.
on my off season, and Bugle came in. Hey, Tom Randall, God, how you doing? And he checking me out, and I didn't think anything of it. And when my name came up on waivers, the Cowboys put me through as a defensive lineman. Well, Bugle knew different.
Yeah.
And Bugle told Bum Phillips, let's pick this guy up. And they did.
Wow.
It's kind of tough, though, because all the Oilers hated the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Houston, Dallas. So here I come. Da, 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 And, it wasn't fun in the beginning because, everybody hated the Cowboys, and I kind of had a stigma, I guess. So
So was that 78 then?
79.
79.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was the year. So Earl would have been his second year then at 79, right?
Correct. Earl and I are the same age. And that's why I say Earl Campbell and Earl and Staubach, my two heroes, and I'll tell you why. With one, Campbell was just a stud.
Oh,
Never seen anything like him in his prime. Never, ever saw anything like him. They had film one time. We were playing the Bengals, and they run a sweep. They had such a simple plan. Earl left, Earl right. Earl goes right, and the defensive back is supposed to come up and hit Earl, right? So he comes up, he's going to put a stick on Earl, right? Earl jukes him, runs by him. Next set of plays, they run the same play, same defensive back. He decides he's going to get back on his feet, because Earl's going to juke him. Earl ran right over the top of him and stepped on him as he went over. And the whole film room went crazy. But Earl was he was crazy. And then the thing I remember most about him, it was Christmas time. We were in the playoffs. And Earl, he had nothing. He owed me nothing. And he came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder. He says, "Hey, Randall, what are you doing for Christmas?" I said, "I don't know. Me and this other single guy, we'll probably hang out." And he says, "No, you're coming to my house. My wife's a good cook. You're coming to my house for Christmas."
how good is that?
Had nothing. I gave him, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, he was just a sincere, good guy.
Sure.
An amazingly good guy.
Tyler Rose.
Yeah. Yeah.
In NFL history, two of the greatest hits I ever remember was Earl hitting Jack Tatum on
the goal line.
Yeah. Earl on the goal line. And the other one was when Earl basically moved Isaiah Robertson's spine back about 6 inches.
He was amazing. Everybody talked about it. His thighs were as big as a normal man's waist.
Yeah.
And he could run. He was fast.
He was really fast.
Yeah. People they kind of underestimate his speed historically. He had great speed and elusiveness, as you attested, because he could run around people too. But, he just would punish. He would punish.
So was that Monday night game against the Dolphins, was that in 78 or 79 when Earl went crazy?
I think it was 78, the year before.
78?
Yeah. But, that's why when you said the Steelers, when I was with the Cowboys, the Steelers beat us in the Super Bowl. And then when I went over to the Houston Oilers, I said, hey, this is going to be a great trivia question. What player played in both Super Bowls? Because we were playing the Steelers, Oilers-Steelers, and the Steelers beat us.
Was that Renfro's touchdown that they didn't call?
Yeah. and you're just sitting there going, but I would have been the only one to play in Super Bowl 13 and Super Bowl 14. I mean, I didn't really play,
Yeah.
but I mean, I was on the team.
Sure.
Yeah.
Still a good
So
trivia question.
was Dan Pastorini the quarterback? Is that correct?
Yep.
Number 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had some broken ribs, I think, in that playoff game. And that's when they started wearing those rib protectors. That was kind of new technology. And was it a slushy, icy game in Pittsburgh? Is that correct? I may be wrong on that year. I don't know.
I can't remember.
They had some battles. I mean, that
my.
Oh, Pastorini was so cool. I mean, he was the definition of cool. He would have been probably like a bunch of people think of Joe Namath.
Yeah.
That was Pastorini. I mean, he was a playboy, loved fast cars. I mean, he was just, and it was so funny because one of the sports reporters for the Houston paper that wrote, he was the beat reporter for the Oilers. He wrote a nasty story on Dan. Nasty.
Oh,
and he came out to the practice field and he wanted to talk to Dan, and Dan decked him. I mean,
no kidding.
He decked him. The reporter's laying. The next day we come out there and somebody had written a chalk line around showing where the reporter was laying. I mean, you're just sitting there going, boy, times were different. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was different. Today that wouldn't have flew, but.
I mean, you think back to the Houston Oilers teams. My God, you were on some phenomenal football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
lucky.
shit.
Lucky. Best of the Oilers and best of the Cowboys. I mean, until the 90s when the Cowboys had their streak. I mean, that was.
So are you a Cowboys fan now, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up a Packer fan, but I don't know. I'm more the Dallas fan, I guess, because I can sneak my way into games and all that stuff. So
Drew Pearson pushed off Nate Wright though in the 75 Hail Mary game. I'm a Viking. I was a Vikings fan growing up. You did too, Kent.
But you remember one thing. You remember where Hail Mary started?
No.
The term Hail Mary. That was that play.
Right. Yeah, in the press conference. Roger at the press conference, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just a Hail Mary. That's all it was. I just threw it up. It was a Hail Mary. And now it's a Hail Mary to everybody's. That's pretty funny when you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy when you think about I can remember the football teams of the 70s more than I can of the 80s and the 90s, the players back then, just because when you're 12 years old or whatever, you're just, I could tell you the starting lineup for the Steelers and the Cowboys and the Vikings and everybody. I mean, I probably struggle a little bit right now, but you still remember that. I can't remember to take the garbage out, but I can remember who the starting 11 for the Vikings Purple People Eaters were. So,
do you have from Iowa State? Maybe I can ask you this: a favorite game, a favorite play, a favorite series scenario that when you look back on your career, go, this sort of defined me or defined my time at Iowa State?
The Nebraska game at home. When we beat Nebraska, and you were at that game, Kent, you said you were there. I mean, we had a coach, and I still use him when I go out, and I don't speak as much anymore, but I used to go out and speak, and this coach would talk about visual. His name was Pete Rodriguez. He was our defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Pete would bring us into a room out at the Towers. That's where all of us were stationed at that time. And he'd bring us into a room, and he'd turn off the lights. He says, okay, everybody, shut your eyes. I want you to picture this. We're playing Nebraska. It's a cold November day. You can smell the popcorn. You look up in the stands, you see your friends and your family. And he just went on and painted a whole picture of the game. And I'll be darned. I mean, we'd never beaten Nebraska. And he said, you're going to look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game. And it's going to be Iowa State on top of Nebraska. And he kept doing that to us. Visualize it, believe it, picture it. And it was just like what he said. I mean, you hear other people talk about visualization, and
Sure.
I mean, that guy was a master, that was pretty cool.
Heck yes. I mean,
They had
go ahead. Kent.
no, you got it.
No, I've lost my train of thought out of it too. I just
They had a quarterback, Vince Ferragamo, who played for the Rams later, and he could throw it all around the field. I mean, he was a thrower, and I know that he threw for a lot of yards, but I think we harassed him all day. I mean, he was obviously a talent because he was drafted early, but I think we harassed him all day. And you're right, it was cold. It was a cold November day, and what a ball game! I mean, Luther Blues kickoff return. Can you kind of take us through a little, because that in my mind is one of the greatest wins in Iowa State history, because it really signified the arrival of Iowa State football in that modern era.
It really did, because Nebraska was really good. I mean, they were always in the top 5 in the country. Nebraska, Oklahoma, and even Colorado back then were all really good. So to beat them was, that was a real marker. And then, everybody thought it was a fluke, and we kept hearing that it was, Nebraska overlooked Iowa State. And we heard that all the next year. And we go over, I'll tell you another funny story. We go over to Lincoln, and everybody's going, no, Nebraska's going to kill them now that they've got, their sights on them. And Coach Bruce used to take the team out after breakfast, before or after, for a team walk. We'd walk around a large city block, just get together, loosen up, get some fresh air. We're over there, and we're walking as a team, and the 4 captains, Cunningham and I and Bosky, and I can't remember, Tryon was the other. Oh, wow. Now, I'm not sure who that is.
Dexter.
Is that Dexter?
Is that Dexter? Yeah.
I think you're right, but for some reason it doesn't look like him. But anyway.
You're on mute, Chris.
So
this was the 19-yard touchdown in the second quarter. This is a photo I found online.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. That is cool. Way to go. But anyway, we're doing our team walk. We got a Coach Bruce in the front. Captains are walking beside him. People are driving by, honking, flipping us the bird. We're just going, whatever. One car comes at us, and I mean, came straight at us. We grabbed Coach Bruce and jumped in the ditch. Grabbed him. We're all just, we are ticked. I mean, we are just so mad, and the night before the game, I forgot that part. Night before the game, they had come over to Omaha, where we had a walkthrough, and they come walking out in the field showing Earl Bruce, and Earl's running over and saying, "Get out of here, no cameras." They said, unbeknownst to them, we went up to the 4th story of the chemistry building and filmed their practice. And they showed it on the 10 o'clock news. We all come out of our rooms just scream, we're watching the sports, and it was our practice, and they said, "Okay, Nebraska, look out for this play, Dexter Green," and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Back in the day, and some people, I probably shouldn't even tell this story, but I'm not going to tell the story.
Statute of limitations. Statute of limitations. It's okay.
Oh,
Nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening.
It's just us 3.
Oh,
And
and stuff you did back then was so stupid. Bosky and Stenzer, I don't mean to incriminate anybody else, but we went back to our hotel rooms, and one of the guys, I won't name who, starts ripping stuff apart in the room. Pretty soon he's ripping the shower thing off, throwing the TV. I mean, the room was destroyed. And then they said, "Well, we're going over to your room, my room." I said, "Well, okay." So they came over to my room. They're pouring pitchers of orange juice in the mattresses. And I mean, it wasn't good. We shouldn't have done it, but we did. We went to the game. Day after the game, I'm in the Olson building. We're just going to stretch out and everything. And Bob Markham was the assistant AD at that time. He comes up to me and says, "Hey, Tom, we got a little report of some damage at the Holiday Inn over in Lincoln. And I went, He says, "You don't know anything about it, do you?" And I went, "Mm-mm." And he pats me on the good game. We shouldn't have done it. I mean, it was so stupid.
But you did,
You know, but
somebody unnamed.
The only person that I know of that didn't do anything stupid in college was Kent. He was the only American boy. He did nothing. He was home all night. He never did anything wrong.
I like that version. So Tom, I gotta ask you. You mentioned the name, and we played with his brother Chris, and I actually roomed with his brother Andy, Tom Bosky. So I know Tom a little bit, and he was always hanging around. But what a baller and what a character!
Oh boy, Bosky was one of a kind. I mean, he's from Chicago. He was a big hitter. I mean, he was captain of the team his junior year, my senior. That was how good he was. But yeah, he was fun to be around. I didn't know Chris because Chris came in the year after I left. But Tom was, he was. There were a lot of characters on our team.
Chris got hurt in a very freak way the very first time.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, he may have gone down as the greatest Cyclone ever. I mean, that guy, I remember watching him play his freshman year. I went to 2 or 3 games, and I was just, Tom Bosky, I've always considered the Bosky family as kind of like the royalty of Iowa State. Including the Wadka family in that as well. I mean, they're all related, but it's just watching him play. And then I remember when I went there as a 12-year-old, and I'm standing out in front of the Olsen building, and I'm there with Dr. Stickley, and I think his son was maybe an athletic trainer or one of the managers or something. And I was standing out there, and Tom Bosky walked out, and I'm pretty sure Wadka was there as well. Jeff Wadka was there at the same time. And I remember him looking down at me. He goes, "Did you have fun today?" And I'm like, I love that guy, man. I did. And then we got to be on the same team with Chris. So that was really special. There's really some really awesome people that have always gone through Iowa State. And it's just, you think back to that. And that's probably the reason why Kent and I like doing this, is just being a fan of the guys that we get to talk to, and then and the gals down the road that we're going to talk to, and just kind of reliving some of those historically great times and historically tough times, and the things that we've become because of it. And every person along the way has had an influence on our lives, and you had a huge influence on both Kent and mine. So we really appreciate you coming in. Yeah. We're a couple minutes late for a break. We've got a little bit of an extended one today. We got about a 5-minute break, but Chris, why don't you take us to commercial? We'll pay a few bills and come back, and let's get into some new things that Tom's doing. And we got a real fun segment for you that I'm not going to tell you about.
Oh boy.
Freight brokers and shippers, are you tired of drowning in emails, spreadsheets, and endless manual work? Introducing USFX, your AI-powered private freight command center. Simply email your PDF rate confirmation or bill of lading to intake@us-fx.com. In seconds, our AI captures every detail, sets up your shipment, verifies carriers, and launches a live digital workflow. No IT setup, no delays. Build your private carrier network instantly, send bids only to your trusted partners, and watch real-time tracking handle everything from pickup to delivery. Cut the friction, boost your margins, scale with ease. USFX, the smarter way to move freight. Visit us-fex.com today and get your free demo. Start transforming your operation. Let's be honest, pizza is something almost every family enjoys. You're already grabbing one at the store, so why not choose the best tasting pizza that also supports a cause we all care about? That was the challenge behind We Will Pizza. Create the ultimate frozen pizza for Cyclone fans. Big flavor, bold toppings, and options for everyone, including gluten-free choices that don't sacrifice taste. And if you haven't tried it yet, the real MVP? The breakfast pizza. Perfect for early kickoffs, tailgates, or watch parties when Hilton Magic or Jack Trice Energy is calling. Every bite helps benefit Iowa State student athletes, so your game day spread does more than just taste amazing. It gives back. We Will Pizza. Made for Cyclone fans, built for tailgates, and ready whenever you are. We will, you will, Cyclones will. In the heart of Des Moines, one name has stood above the rest. Iowa Beef Steakhouse. Step inside, and you enter a place where tradition still matters, where the atmosphere feels familiar, warm, and unmistakably Iowa. Service isn't rushed. It's personal, attentive, and rooted in genuine care. And before the main event, the freshest start in the city, our signature salad bar, crafted every single day. Then comes the reason people have returned for generations. Iowa beef, hand-seasoned with pride. Guided by flame, forged by heat. This is where flavor becomes legend. Served with the same care it was crafted with. A meal meant to be remembered. And whether the night calls for bold, smooth, or something in between, our bar offers a selection as rich as our history, including the old-fashioned we've become known for. Balanced, timeless, unforgettable. And long after the fire cools, the glow of this place stays with you. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines, Iowa. Where Iowa comes for steak, done right.
Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's why choosing the right real estate team matters. The Jenny Farrell team with RE/MAX Concepts has been helping families across the Des Moines metro find the right home since 1998. Born and raised right here in the community, Jenny understands the neighborhoods, the market, and what truly makes a house feel like home. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your space, or preparing to sell, the Jenny Farrell team provides expert guidance every step of the way, from market analysis and listings to negotiations and closing. Their consultative approach means you'll feel confident, informed, and supported throughout the entire process. Jenny Farrell Team, RE/MAX Concepts. Call or text 515-779-7500. Visit jenniferfarrell.remax.com. Experience you can trust. Results you can move into.
When you walk into Coach's Kolaches, you might be a little overwhelmed by all the great choices, but do not be overwhelmed by how to say it.
What's a colache?
Oh, cola cheese? Colache?
Kolaches?
Kolache?
Like the shoes? No, that can't be right.
It's kolache, but it don't matter what you call it, as long as you call it good.
Start your morning the Coach's Kolaches way. Every single batch is made fresh at sunrise by Coach himself. You can taste the care in every bite. Craving something savory? Go with that branded Texas flavor. Warm, hearty, and packed with down-home goodness. Or maybe you're craving the sweeter life. Then you've got to try the fruit-filled kolaches or those soft, fresh cinnamon rolls that practically melt in your mouth. Got that game day fever? We got just what you need at that tailgate.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Tailgating this weekend.
Yeah, what can I get
Big
you?
one. Give me a dozen jalapeno sausages and 6 each of the sausage and bacon.
And listen, we all know how good these are, so you better get more than you think. So run, don't walk to Coach's Kolaches, 2777 100th Street in Urbandale, or call ahead for big orders at 515-802-6200.
Wow.
Okay, now that we're hungry, guys.
No kidding,
Yeah.
right? I gained 4 pounds just watching the damn commercial.
I actually, I see our producer on that one where he's having that old fashioned. Yeah, I'm like, we need to.
That was pretty good.
We need to kick that in.
Hey, I just wanted to add one thing. I was so
Yes,
fortunate. Not only did I live in Ames when I went to school, but I was so fortunate to be able to stay in Ames for 45 years. and raise my family, my wife, Michelle, my daughter, Tanya, my other daughter, Tara. You know, we've been so fortunate to be able to watch everything for the last 45 years. Watch you guys, watch everybody else that's come along. It's just been a blessing. I just wanted to say that.
Well,
That's awesome.
I wanted to get into a little bit of that. I know you're probably not selling as many houses now as you did back in the day, but you got done with your NFL career and you came back to Ames, I believe, right?
Yep.
And is that when you got into the real estate at that time?
Yep. I had my real estate license because my dad was a realtor in Mason City. So I had it and I thought, well, I'll come back to Ames. I needed to get out of Texas. It was just for a lot of reasons. I needed to get out of there. And I said, well, you know what? I'll sell a couple houses and then I'll get a real job. You know, I'll polish up my resume. And yeah, that was the plan. I was just going to sell a couple houses to make a little money while I got a real job. And 45 years later, I'm still there.
Ain't it great?
Yeah.
Are you still active with the realty company, or are you kind of taking a back seat now?
You know, my daughter works with me, and we've got a couple of support staff people that are awesome. You know, we've got a guy in Des Moines and a gal in Des Moines, and they do all the back office stuff that, makes us look good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not working it like I did 45 years ago, but still have a lot of clients that call, want to do business, and that's rewarding. That's why I do it, because It's so much fun to have repeat customers and take care of them again.
You've seen Ames grow quite a bit.
Oh boy, seen the stadium grow quite a bit.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about some of the things, you're removed from their playing days. You're a businessman in town and you're doing the different things with business, but I'm sure you're still, engaged with what's going on inside the athletic department and the school itself. Just from your perspective, just kind of summarize and, however long you need to just the changes that you've seen take place in Ames.
The stadium, you start with that. It's not even, you can't even hardly recognize it from when we played.
Right.
The first year was 75. And if nobody ever remembers this, but the East Stadium they built it and it was falling over and they had to tear it down before we went into the stadium and rebuild it. And so I know that's kind of weird, isn't it? You're engineering school, but your East stands were going into the dirt because it was in a floodplain. But, it's just, and I think I talked with you guys earlier about the Hall of Fame. That's probably my proudest.
Sure.
Letter Winners Club. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame, yes, that was awesome. And I treasure that. But being able to, with Arnie Gardy, to be the two founding members of the modern day Letter Winners Club back in 95, 96, it was Dan McCarney. He couldn't believe we didn't have a Letter Winners Club. And Arnie and I and one staff member started the Letter Winners Club. And we put in a lot of time, but it was so meaningful. And to watch it now, you're just going, it's unbelievable. So
I got to give a shout out to Lindsay Long. When Lindsay kind of took on that role within the athletic department, and she got it within herself to kind of put together a group of folks that kind of from different eras and put a little board together. We were able to work with her and kind of develop the process. And I remember the first time I went to a Letter Winners event, there was like 50, maybe 55 guys. And then a couple of years ago, there was like 495 guys at the Letter Winners tent. That was just awesome. Just a phenomenal event. And that's, again, another thing that you were able to do and put together to start with and be the leader that you've always been. It's been pretty awesome to see.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's probably one of the proudest things I am about Iowa State. So, but Dan McCarney, he's the guy. Dan he's my hero too. I talked about heroes. Dan McCarney, oh my gosh. As a football coach, yes. As a man and the guy's incredible. I mean, he remembers everybody. He remembers that. God, he remembered my mom and dad. He'd remember my kid. You know, the guy is like a human Siri or Google. You know, he knows everything.
So
I love him.
With that, Tom, a guy that he doesn't get forgotten, but I don't think the people knew him because it wasn't the modern media. Talk to us about Earl Bruce. Just about because you see the pictures on the sidelines, wearing his hat, all those things, but we didn't have the insight that you do with the social media, et cetera. And the media wasn't, the media coverage back then, even when we played in the 80s, it wasn't as strong. So can you tell us about Earl Bruce?
Earl was tough. You better be tough or you're not going to be on the team. And literally, I got a lot of guys weren't on the team. The first year or two that I had him, I wasn't a big fan because he rode me hard. But, later on, I realized what he was doing. He came into State Gym. You guys remember State Gym and that track upstairs? We'd do the winter workouts up there. And we were doing laps around there. He called Stensrud and I over. And he said, hey, I just coached the Hula Bowl. Earl had. He was selected to be the coach. He said, you two are better than I wouldn't trade any of the guys in the Hula Bowl for you two. And that was our sophomore year. And I still remember going, whoa, he's either blowing us, a lot. Oh, there's the team.
There we go.
Yeah, there they are. That's Rodriguez up there.
Yeah, Rodriguez, yes.
And Earl.
Is that Pete
middle.
Carroll?
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been, the year before. Jim Williams, Tom Lichtenberg, Wayne Stanley. My coach on the bottom was Zabo my senior year, and that's the guy in front row, second to the left. Left to him is Coach Tucker. Yeah, good memories.
Jim Williams. He spanned a lot of decades.
Oh, boy.
We played for him, and I coached with him, Jim Williams, later, and we played for Coach Williams, and he had a lot of knowledge too. So you look at the assistant coaches, and you mentioned it before. So we had Johnny Majors, then you just saw there Pete Carroll, Jim Williams, great guy. We've had so many great coaches come through Iowa State and really do a lot of their teeth cutting at Iowa State on many different staffs.
John Fox, Dave Campo.
Dave Campo, all NFL head coaches.
Jimmy Johnson.
How about Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah,
there you
Jimmy
go. I was going to say that.
It's like, it's been a pass-through area, unfortunately. They didn't stick around as long as maybe we'd have liked, but I think of
Jim.
The day that when Jim Williams wasn't hired as the head football coach when he should have been was in 1983. I thought he was the natural to be there, but it didn't happen, and kind of went through some dark times during those few years. So, but we all came out of it on the right side of it, so that's a good thing too.
Yeah,
Coach Williams held that together, that era. He held a lot of us together. He's a very successful Dowling coach, and then when Coach Williams didn't get the job and Coach Kreiner got the job, a lot of the sustainability. I tell you what, we had one foot out the door. There's a lot of us, and you couldn't transfer then, and we stayed, but there was a lot of things happening, and Coach Williams really just kept, especially the Iowa kids. We were both Iowa kids, anybody, but he just kept people around and really held that program together as long as he could.
What do you think about what's going on in college sports right now, Tom?
Can't stand it.
Yeah.
Can't stand it. This is unbelievable. I've always said, and you guys were probably the same way, when we played, we got $15 a month. They called it laundry money.
Yeah.
You'd go down to Beercher Hall and get your $15 so you could do your laundry. And I've always said they should pay the players something. And if they would have done this before this all happened, pay them, I don't know what the right number is, pay them $200 a month, pay them something so these guys Some of these guys coming out of inner cities and they don't have a coat. You can't work. You guys know that. You can't work during season, during school year.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hold a job. What are you supposed to do? You have no money. You have no money to go to a movie. You have no money to buy a pizza. You don't have any, and I said that at the time. Some of us, that wasn't my problem, but some of the guys, it was a real hardship. And I said, but people would say, and it really bugs me to this day, people would say, oh, Tom, you had a free ride. Free. Well, I said, you know what? You can take that free ride.
Yeah, right.
When the sun don't shine. But people did. They said basketball players, you had a free education. Well, we did. And we were thankful for it. But we probably earned about $1 an hour, for all the spring practice, games, 3-a-days, all the things we all had to go through. But they should have paid the guys some amount of money. And I don't think we would be where we're at now. I really don't.
Can we reel it in? Can it be reeled in?
I don't know. God, it's it's ruining college basketball. You've just seen, Iowa State, the women's program, Tennessee's women's program, all of them left.
Yeah.
All of them. And you're going, they're getting money, and then you have players from Iowa State asking for $500,000, to go to a different school. You're going, no, this is so wrong. And you never hear anymore about school. Have you ever heard anything about school?
No, never. You never hear academic casualty, ineligibility. Never.
Never.
They must be a lot smarter than the rest of us were, but there's never an academic casualty. None.
None. You never hear, Keith Schrage, he's majoring in
right.
Girls special or something, whatever it is. It just, there's no emphasis on.
Quit laughing, kid.
But
I always tell people,
get it. I don't get it. I don't get where do they stand academically? These kids that have gone to 4 different schools. Where are they?
I tell you what they won't have. They won't have this. They won't have that. And Coach Brown, Matt Brown brought that up, and I think McCarney did as well, and Coach Walden. You don't have that camaraderie of being with people for 4 years or 5 years. And to go back to a letter winners, all these 25 guys that went to Penn State, how many of them are going to play? 7?
Right.
6? What are they going to do? They'll play special teams. They're not going to start. I hope they do. But what do they got when they're done?
And it's sad because, and you go, when you guys come back, you have good feelings and people have good feelings about you. And, all these other athletes, they forget, when you come back, they're not going to come. You can't come back to Iowa State. You left Iowa State.
Yeah, right.
You're a traitor. And people say, oh, God, you're old school. Yeah, I am. I guess I am. But I don't know how you leave Iowa State and go to Penn State and then think you're going to come back and be welcomed, open-armed at Iowa State.
Did you happen to hear what Brock Purdy said? He was on Pat McAfee's show. And they were talking about Campbell having gone to Penn State. And he was like, how would you have treated that? He goes, I'd have never left. Roll clones. I roll with the clones. Right. And you love that. You absolutely love that part of, and he's, an icon, we'd love to try to figure out how to get him on the show, but that one, why don't you make a phone call for us, Tom?
Okay. I'll call him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pull some strings.
But it's crazy.
You're on mute, Chris.
I have that clip if you want to see it.
Yeah. Do. Please show it.
Yeah. Let me hop out of here and I'll show it to you.
Would you go to Penn State now? Actually, Pat, real quick, I actually do. Roll clones. Hey, If you could go back, would you go to Iowa instead of Iowa State?
Dude, don't ever ask that question again.
What about Penn State? Would you go to Penn State now?
Actually, Pat, real quick, I actually do.
We're all clones.
Hey,
Right on.
You got to love it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
You got to love it. And I always said with these guys, I didn't fault Campbell so much for leaving. No. Coaches are going to leave, and I get it. But don't tell us it's because you're closer to your daughter's college in Washington, D.C., or, you can get on a plane anywhere and go there.
Yeah.
But, but even yet, it's money. It's money and prestige, and I get it. But all those guys that left Iowa State, just in a instant, like you guys said, how many of them are going to play? And they all just picked up from Ames and left.
Tom, I think when we finished, and like you said, it wasn't free. I mean, we left a lot out there. There's a lot of anguish, a lot of physical anguish, just ups and downs mentally, things like that. But you learn something, and you learn the lessons of life. What lessons are these kids learning?
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, these are the leaders of tomorrow. And basically they're saying, I'm just selling out. I'm going to get mine. We have this, I'm going to get mine culture. Yeah. And that's probably why I liked the NFL back when you played, because you had the Roger Staubachs. There was real men who manned up for the love of the game and not for I'm going to get mine. And it's disgusting, and it's ruining college sports, and it's ruining people, because they won't have, I would not trade my experience for anything, because of the lessons I learned of getting my ass kicked and having some success and having a lot of fun and meeting the friends of my life. Those are things that it just pisses me off that gets lost. It's totally lost in this whole scenario. It's all about money. That's my rant.
My freshman year,
I get it,
and my sophomore year, every Monday night, I called Coach Ed Thomas from Parkersburg, collect every Monday night. And I'd, tell him what was going on. He always kept, encouraging me and stuff. And when Donnie left, I called him up, and he said, and I told him I was going to try to look at transferring to going somewhere else or do something else. I didn't know what to do, and I wanted his advice. And he says, Keith, you quit one thing, you'll quit anything. Quitting's a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I'm not going anywhere.
What a guy!
What
a guy he was.
Right.
I never knew him, but
he was phenomenal. I mean, but just a wealth of knowledge. But those lessons that we learned and the things that we, the fight along the way to do the things that you had to do it's a shame. Yeah. I hope it doesn't affect him negatively, but there's talk of mental illness that are going to come out of it, because what are they going to do? They're not going to have a degree. They're going to make $600,000 this year. Next year, they're going to have to go find a job and make $35,000. Am I going to get a car? Am I going to get a whatever? No, it's done.
And not have a degree.
Right.
And show that you can't stick it out. I mean, I'm wondering how the NFL, because the NFL, like Belichick, when he was with the Patriots, he would interview. And I know a lot of them don't like these transfer people, but now it's just such part of it because they can't stick through the tough times. And I just wonder what effect that's having on the NFL if they're evaluating this and looking for people who stay, like a Brock Purdy. Brock perseveres on character and just hard work and being a great human being. But he's talented, obviously. But I don't know if he'd have that if he'd have bounced around.
I don't know. Trump called all those people in, including Pollard, to see what they could do. And I mean, they're trying, but they said they're going to try to enforce that you have to play within, 5 years?
Yeah.
None of this 8 years and these guys bouncing around. And you can only transfer once.
Right.
Free.
That's what that's what that committee came up with. To say now they've got to put it into effect. That's about half the problem, but at least maybe it's a start. I don't know. I don't know how you go back.
I mean, 4,500 kids went into the portal. And I think there's still over 2,200 that don't have a home.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
You gave up your scholarship.
Yep.
You go on the portal. You think, boy, I'm going to be a big shot. And then nobody picks you up.
So,
and you're going, okay. So then you go play for Division III or, and there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes I wish I would have played Division III, but.
Dude, it's amazing they even have a scholarship. Why do you need a scholarship if you're making $500,000? Give it to some other kid. Give it to an academic kid.
Walden had a really good take on that. And he said, if you transfer away from the school that you're at, you got to pay that back because they developed you. There was money you spent that was spent on your time and developing you to go on to this next spot. And he thought that they should have to pay that money back. And why are they on a scholarship? There shouldn't be if you can get money, then you shouldn't be on an athletic scholarship. It's getting paid twice.
I get it.
We have a really cool segment, and I purposefully didn't tell you because I know you can think on your feet really quick. We're going to take like a 20-second break. Okay. And I'll give you we'll talk a little bit about before that. We just talked a little bit about some stuff within college athletics, but you are king for the day. And you get to come back after this little 20-second break, and you get to change any rule that you want to change in sports.
No pressure. No pressure, Tom.
No pressure.
Okay.
Okay.
Go to.
This is the Storm Anchor Amendment, where our guest steps behind the podium and makes one rule change to reshape college sports. No limits, no red tape, just their decree.
It's yours, Tom.
A quick 20.
We kind of alluded to it before, but the money, if you could somehow, if I could change that rule and get it back where there'd be some agreed upon amount, I don't know what that is. Some people say 100 or 500 or 1,000 or something that you would pay the athletes, get rid of this NIL, get rid of, them leaving and getting paid $6 million to go to Texas. It's ruined sports.
Yep.
It's just absolutely, it's not as much fun to watch. You don't even know who the players are. Like you guys said, you'd watch teams and you go, okay, I know that's Tom Bosky or that's Mike Stensrud. Well, heck, if Stensrud would have gone somewhere and made a few million,
right?
If that rule was in effect, he played 11 years in the NFL. You're going, but to me, the money's ruining it. We can see it at Iowa State right now, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's an athlete right now that's holding out for over $500,000. And that would have been. You hang your jersey from the rafters, and then, but then I don't know, but like you guys said, I guess we're old school, we're old fossils, and we don't know what we're talking about. So.
I have a guy that's plays golf with me, and he's a big Alabama fan, really big Alabama fan, and he thinks that eventually they're going to get it right, and they'll be able to pay the players, and they'll be able to raise the money that they need to raise, and there's the SEC is not going to be the competitive nature that it has been because the kids that always wanted to go to the SEC can now go to the schools look at the Big Ten, for God's sakes. They've won every major title except for hockey the other night, and that was with Denver winning it. But they've won everything. They've got more money than anyone. The thing I wonder about is when's the Ivy League going to get involved? Because they're going to dominate all the sports if the Ivy League would want to get involved.
That's why Vanderbilt's doing so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But there's more living alumni from IU than there is Alabama, LSU, and Mississippi combined.
Isn't that amazing? I heard that too. I don't know why.
Well, it's a big system in the state of Indiana. I live out here and I see it. You've got 6 or 7 different campuses of IU. Plus you've got the Kelly School of Business and you've got the medical school down there. You got the IU health system, which is tens of billions of dollars that goes into back to the university. I mean, it is huge dollars. You know, like what one guy said, these other schools have doctors and lawyers and car dealerships that are owned, that are their contributors, and then the guy said, yeah, but the Big Ten, they own the car manufacturers, they own the hospitals, and they own the law firms. I mean, that's the difference. And it's a scary time in college athletics, if you ask me.
Well, the SEC for years paid the athletes under the table.
Sure.
And I mean, they'll deny it, but I mean, they were paying the Alabama, all of them, LSU, all of them down there they're paying that, you know, and now, like you say, Indiana can pay people as much or more.
Yeah.
So you're
$60 million, $60 million budget.
God.
You know what I thought was really rich out of that group of people that went into the meeting at the White House, and the guy that was kind of the big spokesman for it was Tommy Tuberville, king of paying under the table.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's trying to legislate it. And what do they say? NIL is now illegal.
So, no, that's right, isn't it?
Well, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to say, I think there's a big difference, and we talked about it. So, Tom, I know as we start to close here, I just want to say that it's just so great to have you here. And here I consider you like an Iowa State royalty, just from growing up and watching you play and knowing you're with the Cowboys. I mean, but it's not just that. And I'll tell you the difference. It's what you've done for Iowa State, the fact that you've been consistently an Iowa State guy. Those people that are transferring and do those things, I could care less to see him come back. And you just represent what the school should be about, what the sports should be about. You just didn't get $800,000 a year in college to do it, but you got something more rewarding, and that is just being loyal to your school, being a true Cyclone. And I just love it, and it's an honor to have you here. It's wonderful, and you exemplify what it should be all about. So you might say we're old school and all that stuff, and we're old timers. You're not. You've got all the things right, and just what a pleasure it's been. And I look forward to. I met you once or twice when I was a young guy playing, and you just probably thought, "Who's this cocky kid?" But I look forward to seeing you at a reunion sometime.
No, that sounds great, guys. We're all brothers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's brothers and sisters. I mean, with the women athletics now, and we come back, we're all one.
Yep.
So
and I end it the way I always end it, from this loyal son and that loyal son. We appreciate you being the loyal son.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
We're tracking the storm, watching it form from Crutchfield's grind to Troy's 2K storms. Seneca spinning through the rain and roar, turning third and long to forevermore. From Jack's I will to the Campbell years, we build up hope out of heartbreaking tears. Yeah, the line holds strong and the faith's reborn. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Here comes Johnny O, fist up in the air. Tonight's show theme on that Hilton stare. Took a quiet Coliseum, turned it into a spare. Where top 25 giants learned to fear this well. Hilton magic swirling like a cyclone wind. We're nine on the pivot, made the rafters spin. Step back jumper, drive down the lane.